So, will September be a month to remember? Only time will tell. But what we do know right now is there is no agreement between the United States of America and China. In fact, negotiations have actually escalated. What we know right now is the debt here in America continues to skyrocket out of control. What we know also right now is we're witnessing a global slowdown taking place across the planet. And what we know is that most Americans are oblivious, they're comatose, they're asleep, or they just don't care. And whether they care or not, most Americans are going to feel the effects when this collapse hits America. It is Monday, September 2nd, 2019. Before we get started today, please make sure to like this video. Make sure you share this video with everyone you know, friends, family, church. Blast it all over your social media. As you know, the algorithms are making it very hard for people to find videos like this. So please share this video with everyone, especially your social media. And make sure you hit that bell notification down below so that you are notified with the newest video. I'm going to start this video out today by telling you a quick story. Yesterday, I had lunch with a very, very good friend of mine. And it was a decent place. And as we sat down, I noticed there were 4 women across from our table. Middle-aged, obese, loud, somewhat obnoxious, drinking. I witnessed these women drink 3 rounds of margaritas in the 45 minutes that we were there having lunch. Now, they were there before us, so I don't know how much they drank it to that point. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just observant, and I'm giving you my observation. Another observation is if you're 55 years old, 5'7", 250 pounds, Daisy Dukes do not look good on you. Just an observation. But as I sat there watching these 4 middle-aged women continue to drink, being loud and obnoxious, and it is not flattering by any part of the imagination, watching middle-aged women, loud, obnoxious, obese, getting drunk. It is not a flattering look. And I think most of you would agree to that. But the moral of this story is, as I was watching this in front of me, I thought to myself, how prepared are these people for what is coming? And this is unfortunately typical of American society now, dumbed down, obese, loud, obnoxious, comatose, not prepared, no care in the world except for today. The party is today. And I thought to myself, I'm probably 99.9% sure that these 4 people across from me are completely unprepared and completely uneducated to what is happening in America and the world. And this is a typical example of some of the most unprepared people, which is the majority of Americans, the masses, the herd. I don't want to hear anything negative. I don't want to hear anything scary. I just want to party. I want to smoke dope. I want to drink. And I just want to escape reality. And I have a news flash for everybody out there. There is no escaping reality. It is coming, and it is not going to be stopped. No matter how much you smoke or how much you drink, reality is coming, and it's going to affect every one of us. You know, these are the people that say they typically need a break from the news. It's too negative. There's nothing they can do about it. So the average American continues to get fatter, more dumbed down, smoke more, drink more, eat more GMO, and continue to just be oblivious to what's happening around them. And, there's people that accuse me that I'm too serious. I'm too serious of a human being because I actually care what's happening about my country. I care about my personal safety and my financial future. So I'm too serious. These are the same people that have their life savings in the stock market, and they have some financial consultant investing their money in things that they don't even know what it is. They have no idea where their money is or what their money is in, because they have a financial consultant who believes, or who they believe is smarter than them, investing their life savings in these stock markets. This is a time in life where I believe we better put down the football games and the basketball games, and we better really wake up to what is happening. This is a time in life you better get very, very serious. You better know where your money is and what it's in. And I think this is a time where we better be less dependent on financial advisors and planners and investors to invest our money. We need to know what our money's in. We need to know where our money is. We need to have control of our money, not letting a third party control it. We need to really stop partying and start educating ourselves on what is going on. And if you're in these markets, you better be very, very cautious. Approach these markets with caution. I think they are on borrowed time. When these markets collapse, these people who accuse you or I of being serious, when these markets collapse, these people are going to be the ones that become very serious. But unfortunately, the damage is done. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. It's too late to be serious, because you have already lost your life savings. You will have already lost everything you invested in the stock market. You will have lost everything that you trusted your financial planner, your financial advisor, your financial consultant. You will have already lost that. And what are these people going to do for you? They're going to say they're sorry, they didn't know, they weren't aware. It's going to be too late for these people, because they trusted these third parties. They trusted the government. They trusted the banks, the financial institutions, the markets. They put all their trust in that while they're out partying, while they're out smoking, drinking, not wanting to be serious, wanting to watch football and basketball and baseball. Listen, this is the biggest game in the entire world, in history. Get involved in it. You should be involved in this game. You shouldn't be watching games on TV. You need to be involved in this game right now, because your life, your future, your family's future depends on this right now. Get involved and pay attention to what is going on. As I make this video right now, Dow futures are down 162 points. So what do we know as of right now before we head into the markets tomorrow morning? We know there is no trade deal in sight. 12 a.m. Sunday, the Trump administration slapped tariffs on 112 billion in Chinese imports. 1 minute later, 12:01 a.m., the Chinese retaliated with higher tariffs on a total of 75 billion of U.S. goods. They targeted Trump's political support. This is factories and farms across the Midwest and the South. So they are now not just attacking America, they're attacking the president. Michael Snyder, a very good article on Zero Hedge I was reading today. If the debt machine was turned off, the U.S. would immediately plunge into horrifying depression. Very good article. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit through this. And this should really reinforce to every one of you why you need to be preparing, and why we don't just have to worry about September. September historically being a very bad month for Wall Street, but we really, really need to worry about what comes after September. Things are not getting better. The debt continues to skyrocket. We're witnessing massive slowdowns here in America, across all industries. We're watching this slowdown globally, but I think the biggest enemy for America is debt. But I want to get into this article. We are far more dependent on America's great debt creation machine than most of us would dare to imagine. Today, debt is involved in most of our major transactions. You go into debt when you buy a house. The same when you buy a vehicle. Credit card debt is over $1 trillion. Student loan debt, $1.6 trillion. Corporate debt has doubled since the last recession. State and local governments are drowning in debt. A majority of American pensions are unfunded. Federal government has $22.5 trillion of debt and growing. A study by Bloomberg discovered gross domestic product per capita would plunge into negative territory if the ability to borrow was suddenly removed. Our massively inflated debt fueled standard of living is completely and utterly dependent on the continuation or the continual creation of more debt. The only thing keeping us from a complete collapse is the fact that debt is flowing like wine. What happens, ask yourself this, what happens when a national crisis erupts and all of a sudden everyone is afraid to lend money? Most people's lives will turn upside down literally overnight. You look at 70% of the GDP in America is consumption. People in America are consuming with borrowed money. People are buying things with credit cards. They're getting farther and deeper into debt. The only thing keeping America afloat right now is the consumer. And how long can the consumer keep consuming with borrowed money? Trade talks between the U.S. and China continue to yield nothing but more tariffs. The market is more primed for a crash than ever. Very good article. And again, it's all factual. Do your due diligence, do your own homework, make sure you're verifying all of this. Taluna Research, 75% of active home buyers said a recession is possible in the next 3 years. 36% said it could begin as early as next year. We have a few more months left of this year, and we're in 2020, and I see big things happening in 2020. 56% of home buyers would stop looking for a home when a recession hits. I believe this is another reason why we're seeing home buying slowing down, and I believe that the recession has already begun, and I believe that a lot of people right now believe the same thing, and this is why we're seeing home prices coming down, we're seeing purchases of homes coming down, and it's going to continue to get worse. Just think, right now we're being told that these are the good times. Just ask yourself, what do you think the bad times are going to look like if this is as good as it gets right now? Another good article on Zero Hedge I was reading yesterday. Mass layoffs are back. Are you at risk? It gives a list of things to look for. And if the company or corporation that you work for, keep on the lookout for these warning signs. Declining financials, freezes on new hires, freezes on budgets, freezes on bonuses, postponement of key projects, consolidation. Consolidation, this is when business units are collapsed together for greater efficiency. We're trying to be more efficient. Has your company or corporation been acquired? Pivoting, going from one direction to another. You know, hey, we're going in another direction. These are warning signs. When you begin to hear rumors, too many rumors, senior management is leaving, or a sudden stock drop. So good article on Zero Hedge. Those are the warning signs. And maybe you can apply that to where you're working at. Here's another one on Zero Hedge. Financial vandalism of low and negative yield bonds wreck pension plans. This is another huge, real big concern here in America are the pensions. The collapse in global bond yields is forcing pension funds to buy bonds that offer negative returns, putting the financial security of future retirees in jeopardy. The true madness is pension funds being forced to invest in assets which will be guaranteed to lose, such as the case of long-dated inflation-linked glitz at real yields of negative 3%. This is financial vandalism. And as we continue to see rates lower, as we continue to go to zero, this is going to have a major strain on U.S. pensions. And everybody in a pension today is going to be susceptible to seeing major cuts in your pension. And I think we're going to witness many pensions in the United States of America completely wiped out. Recession flag. The wealthy aren't buying. Also, again, on Zero Hedge, the wealthy are cutting back on their consumerism and spending. And I think really most of us could take some advice here, take a page out of the wealthy people's handbook here, and apply it to our life. They're cutting back. Why aren't people in the middle class or lower middle class cutting back? They can't. They continue to consume on borrowed money. CNBC, the wealthy have cut back while the middle class continue to spend, spending with money they don't have. Redfin, home sales priced at 1.5 million or more fell 5% in the second quarter of this year. So these are some keynotes and some indications that things are slowing down. As I've said before, the top 1%, they're going to be more savvy and more sophisticated with money than most people. This is, another reason why they're rich and wealthy. And so they have control, restraint, where the average American, the 90+% cannot control their spending. Retailers, to the 1%, are not faring well. Barneys filing bankruptcy. Nordstrom's posting 3 consecutive quarter declines in revenue. The 10% of earners account for nearly half of all consumer outlays. If high-income consumers pull back any further on spending, it will be a significant threat to economic expansion. The savings of the rich also have exploded, more than doubling over the past 2 years. What that means is they are hoarding cash. Over the last 2 years, the rich are pulling out of the stock market and they're hoarding cash. They're not spending. They're not buying any more watches and cars and houses and shoes. They're hoarding cash. You look at Warren Buffett taking his $208 billion Berkshire Hathaway Inc. money. He's pulled 140 billion of the 208 billion. He's pulled 140 billion out in cash and put it on the sidelines. So what does Warren Buffett know that the average Joe doesn't know? What he knows is things are going to be going on sale. He may not know the exact date, but he knows enough to pull 140 billion of his 208 billion, pull it in cash, put it on the sidelines, and wait, because he'd rather be early than a little late. And so again, I think we can take a real note out of the playbook here from the wealthy, but most people won't do that because they don't want the party to end. They don't want the good times to stop. Here's another article. Fitch confirms lower interest rates have yet to spark home buyer demand. 40 weeks of declining mortgage rates has led to a decline in home price growth across the country. It's not doing what they thought it would do. Bank of America economist Michelle Meyer, the housing market is no longer a tailwind for the economy, it is a headwind. Existing home sales have peaked. That's a pretty ominous message right there. And if you're looking to get into the home market here, I would approach it with extreme caution. If you were selling property, I would do it yesterday. Ray Dalio, who manages one of the biggest hedge funds in the entire world, was in an article that I read a couple days ago. I believe it was on CNBC. I want to paraphrase through this. He warns that current conditions remind him of the Depression era environment. He says gold will benefit. Gold will benefit. It will serve as a profitable hedge as investors get caught holding too much risk. Central banks are keeping rates low, printing money to buy financial assets in order to prop up markets and make huge fiscal deficits affordable. So when you have people like Ray Dalio, again, managing one of the biggest hedge funds in the entire world, telling you about the importance of gold, he also says in many other articles I've read that the US dollar, holding dollars, is one of the worst assets you could be in. Now, I believe you have to have some cash, you have to have some dollars on the sidelines, but there's nothing better than hard assets like gold and silver. And Ray Dalio confirms that, he reinforces that. And again, this guy is not dumb. He's heading up one of the largest hedge funds in the entire world, and he's saying that you got to have hard assets like gold. And when we look at hedge funds, financial institutions, central banks, countries, billionaires, the elite hoarding gold, ask yourself, why are you not at least holding some gold right now in your portfolio? Why are you not holding some silver right now at these prices? We look at what the metals have done in the past year. They've done incredibly well, and yet we've had no black swan. We've not had a collapse take place yet. We've really not had any serious bad news other than what is starting to develop, which should be warning enough, telling you that you better be holding hard assets. Imagine what is going to happen when these markets collapse, when the economy collapses. There are only two things of substance, the two most undervalued assets in the world, gold and silver, that are going to have any worth whatsoever. Yes, you better have preps. Yes, you better have security. Yes, you better be walking close to God. But when we talk about financial wealth, there are only two things that are going to be worth anything, and that is gold and silver. And you better ask yourself today, do you have any? Do you have enough? And I don't think people write me all the time and say, how much should I have? That's like asking, how much ammunition should you have? There's never enough. Acquire as much as you can right now at these prices. We look at silver today, 1845, I think, about right now. Gold sitting at about 1530-ish, give or take. These are bargain prices. I truly believe we're going to look back at some point in history and laugh at how cheap it was, and we will all be kicking ourselves that we didn't buy more when we had the opportunity. And for those people out there that say they're broke, they don't have any money, cut the Starbucks out, cut the weekends out at the bar, cut something out, make a sacrifice. I'm not here to tell you I have all the answers, but I've had to make sacrifices. I've had to cut things out of my life. I've had to cut people out of my life in order to prepare for what is coming. And we're all going to have to make some sacrifices, whether that's mentally or physically, to get where we have to be. We could all be in better shape. We could all have more preps. We could all have more assets. And the only way of doing that is by making certain sacrifices, working harder, maybe working a couple more hours, cutting something out in order to acquire right now. I believe that people in America, there's a small group of people have an awakening that this is the time to wake up. This is the time that you better get serious with your life, because your life, your family's life, your future depends on it. And I'm not here to scare anybody. I don't care what you do. That's up to you. I'm just here sharing with you my thoughts and my strategy on what is to come and how I'm preparing for it. I just want everybody to really think about where this country is heading. And, for those people out there that just want the party to continue, the people out there that just want to drink and smoke and have a good time, and what they're doing is just really trying to escape reality. Maybe they're trying to escape, things in their personal life. Please wake up, face reality, because if you don't face it today, you're going to face it tomorrow, because reality is coming. Reality is coming to the stock market. Reality is coming to the economy, and reality is coming to your life, and it is going to affect your life. And please, if I can say one thing, prepare for reality, because most people's lives are going to turn into a nightmare when reality comes.